Welcome to Spirit Knocks for Brooklyn Mosaic. We are still talking about the countries that had the most graffiti-related injuries and deaths. And I named those countries in the last video. The video cut off, but I want to continue with this. These are countries that make a point to control their populations, to keep them conditioned to going along with the norm. Graffiti was not that, okay? Now, I thought it would be interesting if we talked about the definition. Like, where does that word graffiti come from? Graffiti is actually the plural of graffito, which is an archaeological term, right? And in an archaeological context, it is a deliberate mark made by scratching or engraving on a large surface, such as a wall. The marks may form an image or writing. The term is not usually used for the engraved decoration on small objects, such as bones, but might be used for the engraved images, usually of animals that are commonly found in caves, though much less known than the cave paintings of the same period. Often the two are found in caves. In archaeology, the term may or may not include the more common modern sense of an unauthorized addition to a building or a monument. Grafitto, a decorative technique of partially scratching off a top of plaster or some other material to reveal a differently colored material beneath, is also sometimes known as graffiti. Now, what's interesting about this is that they talk about graffiti as it relates to archaeology because that's how far back it goes, right? To the caves, and they use it to refer to engravings. Now, we know graffiti as bubble letters, right? As beautiful trains and murals that are in major cities. But graffiti goes back to, they've taken it back to like ancient Egypt, Rome, Greece, but I'm telling y'all that graffiti goes back to creation, right? Graffiti is not what man made up. Graffiti is what the creator gave us, okay? And I can prove that because graffiti is part of the creation story. It is in the trees that grow from underground. And we know those roots from these baobab trees that are thousands of years old were not created by man. Okay, these come from the beginning of creation, from the beginning of time. And in these roots, we have the story of creation. It is in the clouds, it is in the water, it is in the earth that we walk on, okay? So I want to show you where we've taken the history to, but I could take you back further, okay? So when they talk about graffiti now, they talk about ancient Egypt, or Kemet, as we know as Kemet, right? Modern knowledge of the history of ancient Egypt was originally derived from inscriptions, literature, pharaonic historical records, and reliefs from temple statements and numerous individual objects. And then they talk about 3 minor sources have helped link the major pieces of interrelationships in ancient Egypt: ostraca, scarab artifacts, and numerous temple quarry. And in those places, the writings with the reliefs are often supplemented with a graffito, often in a hieratic and discovered in locations not commonly seen, like a door jamb, a hallway, an entranceway, or the side or reverse of an object. So graffiti was always something used as code. It was used secretly. It was hidden in secret places. And that's what our soldiers, our graffiti artists were doing when they were creating. Now they talk about late Roman Demotic, very late Egyptian Demotic, D-E-M-O-T-I-C, Demotic or Demotic, was used only for ostraca, mummy labels, subscriptions to Greek text, and graffiti. The last dated example of Egyptian Demotic is from the temple of Isis at Philae. So they, of course, talking about ancient Egypt, and then they go on to talk about Rome. The Satyr Square is a Latin graffito found at numerous sites through the Roman Empire and elsewhere. The square became a powerful religious and magical symbol throughout medieval Europe. Then they talk about Pilgrims to religious sites left numerous graffiti at the Egyptian sites. Ancient Athens. Large quantities of graffiti have been found in Athens during excavations. These include a variety of different types of graffiti, such as inscriptions, insults, marks of ownership, commercial notations, dedications, Christian inscriptions, messages, lists, and pictures. They go on to talk about medieval Britain. There are several types of graffiti found in British buildings dating from the Middle Ages. There is a wide range of graffiti to be found on medieval buildings and especially in churches. There are some of the most common types. They talk about architectural drawings, compass drawings, crosses, figures, mason marks, pentacles, ship graffiti, Solomon's knot. Medieval graffiti is a relatively new area of study, with the first full-length work being produced in 1967 by Violet Pritchard. I think we've heard that name before, so I would check her out. Him or her. I know Violet as a woman's name, right? And basically, and of course, when they show graffiti, theirs is like Mason's marks. It's like a line, triangles. Some of it actually looks like puff graffiti with a decorated capital letter, right? It's letters blending into letters. We know graffiti as bubble letters. We know graffiti from the artists in New York that created those original styles. Did they really create those styles, though? Or was that information downloaded or uploaded into them from those that had come before? We often think when we have ideas that it's all our own, but we are a manifestation of our ancestors, right? We are their wildest dreams. So why do you think that what you're doing, you are the first one to do it? You might be the first one in this realm, but your ancestors before you probably are relaying that information for you to bring to fruition. I believe that with all of me because I know that that is what has happened to me. Now, they stopped in Egypt, Greece, Kemet, but I'm going to take y'all to the land, okay? If you look at the earth, the things around you, clouds, the sky, the trees, graffiti is there. That's not man-made, okay? That is a divine source, a divine entity that created this code for us. I am able to see that code. I also see that code on people. I see it on food. I see it on animate and inanimate objects. So that is why I'm here to tell you all, not just the history that they want to give us, but the history that we inherently know and have access to. And I want you all to have access to it and to pay attention, okay? So consider this our story of graffiti, right? How it originated. I hope you all enjoyed this and look forward to the next video.